Soviet Union crashed, Gorbachev lost power to corrupt oligarchs. Yeltsin was bought off by the US to work against the interests of his own country. And well, it was made political sense to the US to obliterate the power bloc and the economic power of the Soviet Union once and for all. And Soviet Union fell apart. People really did go hungry for a while, and until Putin took over and to some degree reformed the country, so it became economically somewhat prosperous again. And in the immediate time was very, very harsh for the Soviet Union, because in some sense, I think the West prevented the implementation of a social democracy. We sabotaged it. We bought off government functionaries and so on. And I think what we should have done is to stabilize democracy there and implement something like a Marshall Plan to integrate Russia tightly with the West. But it seems to me that the strategy of the US to change the government every 4 to 8 years and to have the foreign policy being mostly in the realm of what the US government decides led to short-sighted work on the world, and in some sense to a failure of American imperialism to do this best thing that in the interest of the American empire. And I grew up thinking of imperialism as an extremely bad thing. And what I didn't realize is that eventually empires are going to evolve, because they're just the evolved state of how societies pan out in the world, right? You basically have power blocks that organize themselves in hierarchies, and freedom emerges in the balance between powers, not in the absence of power, because every power vacuum will be filled by some kind of power. And as long as the power is one-sided, it doesn't have any kind of correctives, and you need this balance. And this balance, I think, led to relatively good living conditions in Eastern Germany and very good living conditions in Western Germany. It was exactly this balance between the power blocks that made it possible for the different societies to prosper. And for Germany, it was very good not to be an empire, because they did not have to build a large army and occupy other countries to make sure that they were not attacked themselves and were prosperous. They were a vassal state to the US and treated very well after World War II. And so this entire situation of Western Europe to be vassals to the US has been, I think, objectively very good for Europe. And it's in some sense sad that it ends, or it seems to end right now, because the US is incapable of maintaining a political structure with a very long planning horizon.